Martell Holt is back in the headlines once again, and this time it's after a highly talked about interview with celebrity blogger Tasha K. The moment that interview dropped, social media exploded with reactions, hot takes, and endless debates. But instead of clearing his name or gaining sympathy, it seems Martell's words only reignited old controversies and reopened wounds many thought were finally closing. What began as an opportunity to tell his truth has turned into another moment of public scrutiny, one that's left fans questioning whether Martell is truly misunderstood or simply unwilling to move on from the past. When the interview began, Martell appeared confident, almost defiant. He claimed to have messages, videos, and evidence to prove his side of the story. For a brief moment, some viewers were curious. Maybe this time he would finally bring something new to the table. But as the conversation went on, that confidence started to feel more like repetition. Even Tasha K's facial expressions told a story of their own. It seemed that, despite her professionalism, she was realizing that Martell might be treading the same old ground, repeating the same accusations, and trying once again to position himself as the misunderstood victim. What was meant to be a revelation soon turned into déjà vu. While Martell's interview caused a storm, Melody Sheree, his ex-wife and longtime counterpart in public drama, chose a different path. There was no immediate clapback, no angry post, no live reaction. Instead, hours later, she shared something far more subtle, a single Instagram story that read, "Truth needs no proof over time." That quiet sentence hit like a thunderclap across the internet. It was calm, measured, and confident, the kind of statement that doesn't demand attention but naturally commands it. Fans instantly recognized the message's direction. They began circulating screenshots, calling it the perfect response. One fan wrote, "Melody doesn't need to say a word. Her silence is her strength." Another commented that she'd already won by simply living in peace while Martell kept trying to explain himself. In an age where everyone races to respond, Melody's stillness became her most powerful statement. As expected, the internet quickly divided itself into camps. On Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, Martell's name shot into the trending lists. Some users defended him, arguing that maybe people weren't giving him a fair chance to speak, but for the most part, the reaction leaned heavily against him. Many pointed out that Martell has made promises before, claims of having proof, of revealing the truth, yet every time, nothing tangible ever surfaces. One viral tweet read, "If Martell really had proof, he would have shown it years ago. All he has is another round of excuses." Others accused him of creating drama simply to draw attention to his wine brand, noting that every time a new controversy arises, there's conveniently a product promotion somewhere nearby. Another user summed up the public mood bluntly. "A person who doesn't protect the honor of their family can't expect the world to respect him." Meanwhile, fellow reality figure Carlos King entered the conversation indirectly. Though he didn't name Martell, his timing was suspiciously perfect. He posted a quote that read, "Some people don't change their truth, they just change the story." Fans instantly connected the dots, filling his comments with interpretations and praise for what they saw as a subtle dig. Carlos, it seemed, had said what many were thinking, that Martell might be shifting narratives rather than sharing truths. Not one to let the noise die down, Martell took to Instagram Live the very next day. He appeared relaxed, sitting with a bottle of his wine in hand, smiling confidently as he addressed his critics. He said people called him a liar, but that he would eventually prove himself. However, the audience wasn't convinced. Comments filled the chat, questioning his credibility and reminding him of similar promises made in the past. "We've heard this all before. It's always the same speech with no receipts." While Martell was fighting to reclaim his image, Melody was quietly building her next chapter. Around the same time, she announced a new collaboration with a major fashion company, a move that generated positive buzz across entertainment pages. Fans celebrated her success, saying it felt like poetic justice. The woman Martell once labeled as his creation was now thriving on her own terms, achieving independent success and evolving far beyond the narrative he kept dragging back into the spotlight. The contrast was striking. While Melody was moving forward, Martell seemed stuck in reverse, tangled in legal troubles tied to his construction company, and haunted by the same patterns of defensiveness and resentment. Fans were quick to point out that he seemed more focused on tearing others down than building himself up. A few days later, Tasha K decided to respond to the uproar. Going live on YouTube, she explained that her job as a journalist was to ask questions, not to determine who was right or wrong. She said, "I let the audience decide the truth." But even that statement drew criticism. Many accused her of chasing views, knowing that any interview with Martell would draw attention. Others argued that the conversation would have been more balanced if Melody had been invited to share her side as well. Then came an unexpected twist. Leaked chats surfaced on Reddit, allegedly between Martell and an unidentified woman. The messages appeared to show Martell planning what to say during his interview with Tasha K, even discussing how to frame his statements for maximum sympathy. Once the screenshots went viral, the internet exploded again. Critics claimed this was proof the interview was staged, that Martell wasn't speaking from the heart, but performing for attention. Martell, of course, denied everything, dismissing the leaks as fake. Yet, once again, few believed him. As one viral comment read, "When someone lies too often, even their truth sounds like a lie." By now, public opinion had solidified. The narrative of Martell as the wounded man trying to clear his name was wearing thin. Many viewers noted that he seemed to recycle the same grievances, blaming others, claiming victimhood, and promising evidence that never arrives. Meanwhile, Melody had become the symbol of quiet resilience. She wasn't participating in drama, wasn't making emotional posts, and wasn't pointing fingers. Instead, she was working, succeeding, and moving on, actions that spoke louder than any statement. In the aftermath of the interview, social media's verdict became clear. People were tired. They were tired of the endless justifications, the self-pity, and the constant retelling of the same story. It wasn't just about Martell and Melody anymore. It was about accountability and growth. As one user commented, "At some point, your pain stops being your excuse. You either grow or you stay stuck." When Melody was later asked about Martell in a separate interview, her answer was calm and graceful. She smiled softly and said, "I pray that everyone finds peace in their lives, even if it's a part of my past." That simple statement hit harder than any confrontation. Fans flooded social media with praise, calling her maturity her ultimate revenge. In a world that feeds off conflict, Melody's calm had become her power. While she moved forward, Martell continued to struggle with public perception. His attempts to promote his wine brand were met with mockery. Under every promotional post, there were sarcastic comments about him using drama as marketing. The more he tried to explain, the less people believed him. It became a cycle, one that only deepened his image as someone trapped in his own narrative. During a podcast tour, Carlos King was asked directly about Martell and Melody. His answer was careful but meaningful. He said, "I know both of them. Both have suffered a lot. But I always say, the truth isn't the one that shouts the loudest. The truth is the one proven with time." That statement instantly went viral. To many, it was Carlos's gentle way of saying that he believed actions speak louder than emotional interviews. Once again, people felt his sympathy lean toward Melody, who had proven her growth through consistency rather than words. Soon after, new media reports added fuel to the fire. Rumors circulated that Martell had actually planned the interview with the help of close friends, rehearsing his answers to portray himself as the victim and subtly discredit Melody. Though unconfirmed, the story fit a pattern that fans had already started to see: Martell's obsession with controlling the narrative. For his critics, this was just more proof that he was less interested in truth and more interested in public image. As the weeks passed, Melody's fans mobilized in a wave of online unity.
A new hashtag, #MoveOnMartell, began trending across platforms. Thousands of users posted messages urging Martell to let go of the past and stop using his relationship drama as a crutch. Many wrote that Melody had surpassed him not just in career, but in character. One fan's post summed up the movement perfectly. Melody is winning not because she's fighting him, but because she stopped fighting altogether. Others offered tough love. The battle isn't with Melody anymore, it's with yourself, one comment read. The movement became not just about Martell, but about anyone refusing to take responsibility for their own growth. Meanwhile, the rumors kept swirling. Bloggers alleged that Martell was devising yet another plan to discredit Melody's image, a claim that, while unverified, didn't shock anyone. They believed it because it fit the pattern. Even Melody's close friends reportedly spoke to media outlets, explaining that she was intentionally distancing herself from negativity. They said her focus was now fully on her children and her business ventures. That revelation only strengthened her public image as poised, centered, and mature. For Martell, however, things continued to unravel. One of his former business partners came forward claiming that working with him had become impossible because of his attitude. He carries his ego everywhere. He thinks the world is against him when, in reality, he's against himself. That comment went viral almost immediately. Across social media, people agreed that this summed up Martell perfectly, a man too proud to admit fault and too stubborn to change. Over time, that image hardened. Martell's live videos, meant to defend himself, only seemed to make matters worse. Viewers pointed out contradictions in his statements. One moment, he claimed he'd moved on, and in the next, he was revisiting the same old issues, still blaming Melody. It painted the picture of someone emotionally stuck, unable to release the past he claimed no longer defined him. As one viewer wrote under a reposted clip, "A person who keeps explaining their past is still living in it." The phrase captured what many already felt. Martell's inability to move on had become his biggest downfall. So, where does that leave things? Tasha K has moved on to her next big story. Carlos King continues to thrive in his career, balancing projects and podcasts. Melody Sheree is glowing, launching collaborations, caring for her kids, and walking confidently in her independence. She's proven that peace is the loudest response of all. And Martell, he's left at a crossroads. With his credibility questioned, his businesses struggling, and public patience wearing thin, he faces a decision only he can make: continue repeating the past or finally choose growth. The public has already rendered their verdict. They no longer see him as the charming reality star they once rooted for, but as a man trapped by his own pride. What began as a desire for redemption has slowly turned into a cycle of self-inflicted damage. Every live stream, every defensive comment, and every claim of victimhood only reinforce what fans already believe: that Martell is fighting ghosts that no longer exist outside his own mind. Still, there are those who hope he'll change, that one day he'll learn from his mistakes, find peace, and redefine his image. After all, redemption isn't impossible, but it requires humility, and that's something his critics say has always been missing from his story. In the end, Martell Holt's story is no longer just about one interview or one relationship. It's about the danger of repeating old narratives and refusing to grow from them. It's about how silence can sometimes be more powerful than words, and how true healing doesn't need an audience. As of now, the internet has moved on, even if Martell hasn't. The question that lingers is simple: will he ever? Only time will tell. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth breakdowns of celebrity news and reality TV drama. And tell us in the comments, do you think Martell deserves another chance? Or is it finally time for him to let go of the past? Until next time, thank you for watching. And remember, the truth doesn't need to shout. it reveals itself with time.